Hey, Sean Chandler here. This is my initial review coming straight out of the theater for Alien Covenant. To give you a little bit of background, I love Alien and especially Aliens. That's like a top 10 favorite movie for me of all time. And I did not like Prometheus really at all. So I didn't know what to expect going into this one. I just didn't really trust Ridley Scott that much, but it felt like they were heading back towards what I loved about the first two movies in the series. So my initial thoughts, reaction to the movie is that I liked it, did not love it, almost loved it, possibly could have loved it if the movie went in some different directions. But unfortunately, where the movie went, with the direction they kind of took things, how it all came together, I liked it. I did not love it. There was a lot of improvements over Prometheus, fixed a lot of my issues with it, but it repeated a lot of the same mistakes and had a lot of the things that I did not care for. So, with that said, here's some initial thoughts. Actually, it's 6 thoughts written down. The first one is that I liked it. Thought number 2 is that the trailers for this movie did not spoil it at all. There's actually very contained in what they revealed about this movie in the trailers, which was really quite impressive. I was watching it, even the very first act of the movie, I was like, I didn't know any of this stuff was going to be here, and as the movie went along, it kind of kept going through it without spoil. I didn't know where it was going. Really big, gigantic twists throughout the whole movie, and so that was really surprising to me is how well they marketed this, and in that they accurately presented it, but they held back so much, or they accurately presented 16% of the movie, and then there's some more stuff that I was not as crazy about, but very much so. Don't read reviews. Don't watch too many reviews going into this if someone gets into spoilery type stuff, because there's a lot of big twists and turns in this movie that are not in the trailers at all. Thought number 3, this movie was really good, maybe great, when it was another movie in the Alien universe. When it wasn't necessarily a prequel, when it didn't feel like a prequel, when it didn't feel like that, but it just felt like a movie in that universe. It was really good, and they took it to places I was like, yes, this is what I've been wanting to see. I don't know, maybe my entire life, because I didn't see Aliens in the theater, so really kind of my whole life I've been waiting for an Alien movie this good to see it in the theaters, and there are parts of it that were that. Really good. But then the other part of the movie is that it's a Prometheus sequel, in which case when it went from Alien spin-off movie out in space in the universe of Alien to Prometheus sequel, the elements that kind of tied back to it they tie in all throughout the movie in different ways, kind of comes and goes the way it ties into it. Not crazy about it. And the problem I had with Prometheus is that I love Alien and Aliens because there's simplicity. I don't need to know where the alien's coming from. I don't care who the jockey is in the story. It's like a cool world that's lived in. And the movies were simple, scary, exciting, thrilling. So I really liked them on that level. And I didn't need this whole backstory of the universe. And then likewise, it had all these kind of themes that kind of came off pretentious to me of kind of exploring faith, life, death. Who is the creator? And this movie touches on that. It gets kind of back into some of those same sorts of things at times. And so it's a movie that kind of went back and forth for me of yes, finally, this is what I've wanted this whole time. And then, this is exactly what I don't want. So it's really kind of a mix back and forth of those two things throughout the whole movie. Like I said, I liked it, but because it kept kind of going back to the stuff that I didn't care for, it held me back from being able to love it the way I wanted to. Thing number 4, there's a weird cameo in the first act of this movie. Anti-Vegans is saying, how was it? It's good. It's not great. It's much closer to the feel of Alien and Aliens, has a lot of the things you love out of Aliens and Aliens, but if you weren't crazy about Prometheus and the kind of the convoluted mythology, there's more of the convoluted mythology that ties into it. And so it's a mixed bag of a lot of the stuff I wanted. But if you liked Prometheus and you liked Alien and Aliens, this movie's probably like a dream come true for you. If Alien and Aliens and Prometheus are all awesome to you, you will love this movie. If you are on the fence about Prometheus or didn't like Prometheus, this movie will probably be a lot better for you. You'll like it a lot more, but it's still a pretty mixed bag. That's what it's. Anti-Vegans is asking, should I watch Prometheus before this? Absolutely. You should watch Prometheus before you see this movie. This is very much a sequel to Prometheus. It's a standalone thing, but has so much stuff that ties into it that's Prometheus based. You need to see Prometheus before you see this, otherwise it'll be really, really confusing. And when you see this movie, you'll very much understand why. Different parts of this movie, you could see how they could have done a rewrite of this movie and made it totally its own standalone story, but it's not the way they decided to tell this story. And if this movie had been written as just other movie and alien story with they have all the elements and bones there to do that, I probably would have said this was like a great movie, like 9 out of 10, like maybe. The characters aren't quite as strong, maybe to get it all the way up there, but 8.5, very strong. Anti-Vegans, is this like a reboot? No, it is not like a reboot. It's very much of a continuation of the story that they've established. The story, it tells a standalone story, but the mythology of it ties in very much so with Prometheus. And so it's very much continues elements in Prometheus in this story. And that's why you just can't watch, you could, but you'd be very confused as to some gigantic elements in this story that are Prometheus. And I don't like Prometheus, so even recommending it to you as it's homework to understand this movie better. This is a much better movie. I like this one a lot more. I can see myself rewatching this one, but there's a lot of things to this one that I didn't care for. The Prometheus stuff, really. So like I said, this movie is, when it's Alien standalone movie, which it could have totally been that. There's all the elements there for it to be that. It's really good, possibly great. But it is a Prometheus sequel at parts and definitely ties into that mythology. And that side to it is not as strong to me. It had all the things that it does it better than Prometheus did in kind of the convoluted mythology and building the world. It does it better, but there's still a lot more of it, that stuff that I don't want. In answering questions I don't need answers to about where certain things come from and things like that. Yeah, but as for, do you need to see Prometheus? Yes. Do you need to see Alien and Aliens and all that stuff? No. But Prometheus, you do need to see that. But if you haven't seen Alien and Aliens, watch those ones instead of watching Prometheus or this one. Those are better than all this. So I think I mentioned there's a weird cameo in the first act of it. It's very minor, but it pulled me out of the movie. I was like, wait, what am I looking at right now? Like, who is this? Why is this guy in this movie? Fifth thing to mention, the movie kind of has a pretty dark, Ryan O'Toole says, I found Prometheus boring and forgettable, and I couldn't read the rest of what you said. This one's a lot more interesting, especially like the first act, the last act. It gets a little bogged down and slows down in the middle, but it's really good. Like at the beginning, really good at the end. There's a lot of really good things. This one is a lot more exciting to me, but it follows the pacing of like the first, actually really Alien or Aliens. Both of those take a little while to get going and kind of building up the characters and your interest in them. And so I don't have any problem with it being slow and kind of being a slow build. This one, it slows down a bit in the middle, where it kind of explores some ideas and some stuff in there. So, but this is a lot. I like this one quite a bit more than Prometheus. Fifth thing to mention, it has a pretty dark worldview like Prometheus did, kind of a very cynical view of kind of faith, creators, slaves, masters type stuff. And this one kind of, while a better story, more enjoyable, has some much darker things to it that I like. I didn't particularly enjoy, but I didn't hate it either. It just has some pretty dark ideas at different parts throughout the story where it goes, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy with the nature of the mission that they're on and the potential stakes kind of going on, and some of the way the story goes at different parts and places they go and things revealed. Pretty heavy, like heavy stuff at parts of this, which kind of goes to, it seems like Ridley Scott has a pretty dark worldview. If you're wondering if it looks like I'm starting to sweat, I am in Texas. It's actually really hot outside and I don't have my car on. Just so you know why it looks like I'm getting shiny as the video goes along. Final thing to mention is there's elements to it that get kind of predictable. There's things that are really like you don't know where it's going, but other times it is pretty predictable at certain parts, and I could guess a few too many things ahead of time. That's a little bit frustrating, but other stuff I didn't guess at all. It kind of tricked me, gave me some red herrings, but elements to it I looked at it, I was like, you could have done that a little bit better. You could have hit that. So overall, like I said, I liked it. I enjoyed it. This is one I can see myself watching a lot more than I'll rewatch Prometheus. Certainly a lot better than Alien 3, the movie I hate the most in the entire universe. It's better than Alien Resurrection. So it's better than a lot of things, but because it kind of goes real far into that Prometheus, convoluted mythology, backstory, let's answer questions nobody's answered. It does too much of that for my taste, so I can't go as high with it as I want to go. So with that said, if anyone has some things, Verschned says, I wish Covenant was more of a sequel to Alien Aliens and Prometheus more of a apocryphal movie. I would totally agree with you on that. I view Gary Lay, I don't know how to say your last name, says, is Fassbender good? I liked him in Prometheus. Then you will enjoy him in this too. There's plenty of him that they give him lots to shine. There's lots of moments for him to do stuff in this movie. And in a lot of ways, it's his movie. He gets kind of he's probably the most interesting character in it. So if you like Faust Bender, yes. And back to the previous question about is it... I view like Alien 3 and Resurrection, those are apocryphal. Alien vs. Predator, those are fan fiction. And I kind of wish I could view that Prometheus is apocryphal because I just don't care for it too much. But this one very much is a sequel to it. And elements certainly tie in. So anyway, yeah, I was hoping for that one where they were going to do that was going to just kind of follow after Aliens and ignore Alien 3 and Resurrection, but it sounds like that's totally canned. I was really excited about that because I hate Alien 3 so much that I would love a universe where I can say, yep, retconned out, let's continue on with Aliens and have Michael Biehn come back and Sigourney Weaver and have somebody play Newt in it, and I would be like, that's awesome. Looks like that's not going to happen. So anyway, thank you guys so much for chiming in, watching, hearing my thoughts on it. Like I said, it's good. If you were disappointed by Prometheus, you'll like this one more. It has more things you'll like about it. But it still has some of this. If you didn't like Prometheus, it has things that you still won't like. And if you liked Prometheus, you'll probably really, really like this movie. This is very much a synthesis of Aliens, and Prometheus. So you'd really like this movie if that's where you're at. If you're new to my channel and you're checking me out for the first time, like looking at me, not just watching my reviews, that's what happens when I start getting in a hot car, get delusional, and say stupid things. But if you're checking out my channel for the first time, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, some of these initial reactions right out of the theater, so I can just give my thoughts without overthinking, like, what am I feeling in this moment? I'd like to share that with you guys. I do some TV reviews as well, and I got this thing called Masters of Movie Trivia, where me and some other YouTubers compete in movie trivia. We got a new episode coming up in just actually probably about a week from now. So, with all that said, thank you guys so much for chiming in. Please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on it. What was your kind of impression of it? How does it kind of compare to the series? And with that, I'm out.